Are we live? Let me check if we are live. Yeah, I guess we're live. So, hey guys, so I'm in my studio just working out a little bit, and I thought I'd go live. If I do a video on my phone, I stop it a million times and I re-record it because I mumbled through something or I stuttered, and I thought I'd go live in case anyone's hanging out. They're going to the gym. They're going to go work on their calves, maybe roll out their calves. But this came up both with a client conversation, a client's husband text conversation, and also myself getting ready to play basketball this morning. So I thought I'd go through this a little bit. We talk about massage, foam rolling. My screen's up here, so I'm always kind of looking at what I'm looking like on the screen. We foam roll our calves to relax trigger points and knots in your calves. So a couple things going on. I've had calf problems because of my foot surgery, and so I pull muscles in my calf every once in a while. I'm always managing that. Number two, sometimes I just get cramped because they're dehydrated. That's a different thing. And then also we cramp while we're sleeping at night. So what do we do from maybe an electrolyte standpoint, and then also from a foam rolling standpoint or massage standpoint? We talk about that. Oh, I got the stick around here too somewhere, but I don't have that probably in arm's reach. Anyway, so yeah, if you're live, if you happen to check this out, comment, let me know that you're here. Otherwise, this is an easier way to throw some videos up on YouTube and Facebook. All right, so I got in a car accident 20 years ago. I chipped a bone in my big toe. When I lost mobility in my big toe, that caused problems with my foot mechanics, caused problems with my ankle, then my lower leg, my knee, and all the way up into my hip, right? What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, right? What happens in your big toe does not stay in your big toe. So if you're a soccer player or a runner and you have turf toe, if you have a bunion, mostly females out there wearing your cute shoes, but whatever you're wearing, maybe you got some cowboy boots you like to, and those are throwing your toes off. A bunion problem, I know my nephew Jimmy, shout out to Jimmy if you're watching this, his big toe is bothering him. So there's a couple solutions for wearing different types of insoles or soles or orthopedic insoles, things like that can allow you to keep running and walking, but you don't want to lose mobility of your big toe, all right, or any of your toes. All right, so because of that kind of effect on my kinetic chain, what happens is that you avoid your big toe when you walk. So instead of walking normally with kind of a neutral ankle and everything is going straight ahead, your knee is loading over your, let's say your second toe, you begin avoiding that big toe. So you do what we call supinate, right? And so you're kind of rolling. When your heel hits, or even on your midfoot, you kind of hit midfoot to toe off. And what happens is you land on the outside of your foot. I would land on the outside of my heel, on the outside of my kind of midfoot, and then roll off my pinky toe versus coming on to my first and second toe, right? So we either underpronate, you might supinate, depends on how you want to view that. All right, that causes problems. Your arch then can be a little too high elevated, or your arch is not working. Your arch should be sort of a shock absorbing, sort of stable part of your foot. Which then works into your ankle bones, right? Which is your shin bone, your talus, that middle ankle bone, and then your heel bone. Those three bones are vital for transferring sort of the horizontal shock absorption and power of your foot into the vertical force and vectors, if you will, of your lower leg and your legs, right? So if you begin avoiding that big toe and you're going for long runs or playing basketball like I was, that can wreak havoc on your calf muscles, your gastrocnemius, your big calf muscle, your soleus muscle, and then also an important arch-involved muscle, because it sort of helps form and strengthen and support your arch, is your posterior tibialis, a kind of a deeper muscle that sits along the medial, kind of posterior part of your tibia, runs behind your ankle bone, and connects to your arch. So a lot of muscles involved that can throw off your big toe, your toes, your arch, your ankles, your heels, and then up into your calves. This can cause Achilles tendonitis. That can cause like heel cord pain. It can cause arch problems, plantar fasciitis. It can cause big toe problems, peripheral neuroma or Morton's toe, Morton's neuroma. I guess a guy named Morton had a long toe. It caused problems, so they call it, I don't know, Dr. Morton, I'm sure, talked about your second or third toe getting numb. So that can bother you as well. So if you've had any of these things diagnosed, or if you're Googling something and saying, I think I got Morton's neuroma, or I got, plantar fasciitis, all of this is connected, right? My brother, Joe, maybe he's watching this, he's watching more of these. He tweaks a calf playing backyard volleyball the other day, and he said something like his hamstrings bothering him, and I kind of just joked that, it's all the same thing. Meaning, the tissues that run through the bottom of your toes, the bottom of your feet, your arch, your heel, the fascia that wraps around your heel, up to your heel cord, up to your calf, your hamstring, your butt, your glutes, your lumbar fascia and muscles, all up to your lats. It's all connected. It's all overlapping muscle and fascia. So how do we loosen up some of this? If your calf is causing you problems, so again, my calves are feeling pretty good from a not, straining them standpoint, but they feel a little crampy. Just when I start, I just feel that. Number one thing I do is we played at 6 a.m. this morning. If I'm going to play, I show up, I shoot around, I run around a little bit, and I can just feel a little bit of cramping. And so this is always a tricky part. People say, do you roll before or after playing ball or running? And I had this question today with a client. And, if you're going to prep and do a localized rolling to kind of loosen up one part of your body, if my knees are talking to me a little bit and I plan to do some sort of squat, lunge, lower body workout, I might roll my quadriceps a little bit just to loosen up some of that tension, but not so much that I'm trying to really relax the muscles. All right. We'll get that in a second as far as rolling before bedtime. But what I want to do is just massage out maybe some sticking points, maybe some trigger points, some spastic muscles, some tight muscles. I went out with a couple buddies last night, had a beer or 3. That means I might be a little more dehydrated than I typically might be. So my calves might just be feeling that a little bit. So I'm going to roll. All right. So what I'm going to use is whether you got a tennis ball, 2 tennis balls taped together like a peanut, about a 7-inch. This is kind of a lower density foam roller. If you this is a high density foam roller. It's a little harder, which is what I recommend. This is a 18-inch foam roller, full foam roller, meaning it's fully circular. All right, so if you're getting this on Amazon, it's a high density foam roller, but an 18-inch one versus the 3-foot, 36-inch one. All right, I like to use this. I believe they're still on Amazon. It's old, but this is an Orb, O-R-B. It's a 5-inch ball, high density, and this is what I like to roll with mostly, especially my calves and my hamstrings. So I'm going to throw this under my calf. And so you have 2 major muscles. The gastrocnemius is like 2 big bellies of muscle. And then you have the soleus, which is a kind of a flatter muscle that runs along behind the gastrocnemius. And so you support yourself here, hands behind you. And I want my hips up off the floor. And I'm going to roll just like right in between my gastrocnemius. Then I'm going to roll my medial head, the kind of the inside part of the muscle. And then I'm going to roll the outside and just kind of explore, what does this feel like? And first thing, you're just kind of checking out, how does the muscle feel? Do I feel anything at all, right? I might go onto my perineals or fibularis muscles. Those are muscles that if I evert my ankle and turn on these muscles here. So all these things are sort of working together. And if I find a good knot, I might just go a little bit, 2 inches above it, 2 inches below it, hit that a little bit like that. All right, so I'm just kind of exploring. I might go what a massage therapist would call cross-friction massage. I'm going perpendicular to the fibers. The fibers run up and down, right, from my knee to my heel. So I can go side to side. And then the other thing I might do is find a spot, all right? So let's say I find there's a good little knot there. It's just to do some circles, move it around, right? Because if I'm playing basketball especially, I want to plant, I want to move around. And so if that's not happening well, if a microphone stands up with me, I'm wired today. If I plant here and I want to move this way, jump off my foot, go, whatever the case, I need these muscles and tissues to be pretty relaxed and mobile in order to move with me. So I'll just kind of explore all of that and see what's going on, right? If it feels sketchy, it probably is. So I don't want to dig too much into a particular area or not. I'm not trying to pop a knot. I'm not trying to rip it out. I'm just trying to massage that out a little bit. All right. So I'll just hit that a little bit before I play, loosen up, just see how everything feels, and then go rock and roll. All right. So that's a 5-inch ball. It's small enough. I keep that in my gym bag. So when I show up at the gym, maybe before a workout, I will hit that for sure. All right. Secondly, let's stick with foam rolling for a second. A client of mine, we did some deadlifts with a kettlebell. The kettlebell's behind me. She did some deadlifts. So if you're working on just how your lower back feels, how your hips feel, in order to stay in this position here and deadlift down and back up. So she's got a kettlebell like so. And she's just going down and just getting sort of a Romanian deadlift, but just working on this hinging pattern, right? How well does her hips feel? How much of a hamstring stretch does she have here? How much of a calf stretch does she have here? We just kind of assess that. And we did it with a lighter weight that she can handle, but I just wanted her to really be aware of not how much she's lifting. It's not quantity of movement we worked on today. It was quality of movement. She's been cycling a lot. She's been playing a little tennis. So she felt a little more of a stretch and strain on her left side, which I'm guessing isn't just a tight muscle. We don't just have a shortened muscle that we need to lengthen by a lot of stretching. We don't want to go and just kind of crank on this muscle to lengthen it and then stand up and try that again. I'm assuming she has a little bit of lower back ache and pain too. So maybe there's a nerve coming out of her lumbar spine. Like we all know about a sciatic nerve, pretty popular one, right? That, what's sciatica? What's a sciatic nerve? It's just one of the main branches that come out of your lumbar spine, runs down the back of your leg. And not only can it get tight, not only can it get stretched, it can also not move very well. Floss, we call it. Picture you're flossing between teeth. That nerve doesn't floss very well between tissues, within tissues. So you got a layer of skin, a layer of fat, a layer of fascia, myofascia, muscular fascia, and then a couple layers of muscle. A couple different, 3 different hamstring bellies, right? So somewhere along there, if those nerves aren't moving very well, up and down, kind of flossing in between all those tissues between your lower back and your feet, you're going to feel some sort of sensation, tightness, tension, tingling, numbness, pain, anywhere up and down. That's why I said my brother's hamstring issues probably led to him tweaking his quadriceps, all right? Because you got to appreciate the fact that this is all connected. You hit your funny bone, where do you feel it? You pop your funny bone and you feel your pinky, right, is on fire, right? So the funny bone is here. If you peeled away the skin, you just kind of have like a shoelace, kind of a off-white looking shoelace looking nerve, and then it goes into the muscle. But you hit your funny bone here, your pinky hurts. Well, in the same way, if you bother your back or your nerve isn't moving well in your glutes or your hamstrings, you can feel that sensation anywhere up and down your legs. That's what we're going for. So you can hit this roll. Again, I can go up into my hamstrings as well. So what we did with my client, Wendy, is we did a set of 10 of these kettlebell deadlifts, just hinging. You can just bow, right? We do that in my Catholic Fit program, just bowing and hinging, right? It's one of the Catholic calisthenics we want to be able to do. So I might roll my calf, and then I might roll my hamstring and say, well, let's see if I can get this moving around a little bit. Same way, I'm going to roll kind of on the outside of my calf. I'm going to roll right down in the middle of my thigh, and then I'm going to turn in. I'm going to roll sort of where my groin muscles, my adductor muscles, attach to or overlap with my hamstrings. All right, your biggest adductor muscle, the muscles that if I'm going to squeeze this ball between my knees, I'm using my adductor muscles. All right, your adductor magnus is also a strong hip extender. It's going to work almost with your hamstrings quite a bit. So I want to hit all these muscles. And this is the one I know, like when Wendy rolled, she was kind of rolling here. That outer hamstring was talking to her. All right, that was just a little extra sore, all right, which can also lead to IT band stuff, hip stuff, right? We've all kind of experienced different pains and aches and pains we're talking about. I feel the most when I go kind of inner thigh. So I hit that inner thigh spot with my hamstring. All right. And then, after hitting, she rolled our calves out a little bit, and then we did another set here. And she's like, it feels a little better. We rolled our hamstrings out, went bigger, feels a little better. She still felt her lower back. So then we went all the way up into her glutes. Now it's a tough one to massage your glutes because are you hitting the bigger glute muscles? Some glute muscles are bigger than others. Or are you trying to dig in deeper to that piriformis, right? That's one that we hear about a lot, some sort of inflammation or crabbiness with the piriformis muscles. A lot of runners know what that is. And what that is you have muscles that stabilize and rotate. So if I'm sitting here with my knee and I press it out like that, or if I press against resistance, I'm using my piriformis muscles, my external rotators, all right? So picture the rotator. You can't really picture the rotator cuff, but so this is my pec and this is my deltoid. Inside, I have my rotator cuff, 4 muscles that form a cuff around my arm bone, and they rotate my arm. Your piriformis and deeper hip muscles are sort of the rotator cuff of your hip, right? And so your glutes may be fine. You got some fine glutes, but your piriformis may be the issue. So you just got to root around a little bit, all right, and see, is it kind of off my sacrum and kind of going onto my hip joint? That might be a little more piriformis, right? Piriformis. Or I can go a little higher and hit maybe my glute med. I might stretch that and go here. There's different ways to kind of put a stretch on that. If you put this much of a stretch on your gluteus medius, you're going to feel that, it's going to wake up a few spots, all right? You don't want an excessive stretch when you're rolling necessarily. That's a muscle that's higher up here. But you just kind of go through some of these things, but don't just roll for the sake of rolling because I told you to roll, trainer, therapist, whoever. You want to kind of test and then retest. So that's why I had Wendy do probably 5 sets of 10 deadlifts with the kettlebell, but we rolled something in between each one. Now, is it a permanent fix? She even said, do I have to do this every day? No. You don't want to roll every day. You don't want to pop an ibuprofen every day for a headache. You want to drink water. You want to get good sleep, manage your stress, do all the other things that might be leading to this migraine or headache. But for a temporary fix, if it helps her move better, then moving better may help alleviate pain, right? Do you not move well because you have an injury, or do you have an injury because you're not moving well? So if we can reduce this pain cycle that she's feeling and help her move and hinge or bow or deadlift a little bit better, that's what we're looking for. So we didn't just do a 20-minute rolling session on her hamstrings and calves and that. We rolled for 2 minutes, and then we did 10 deadlifts. Then we went and did an upper body push-up. Then we came back and rolled her hamstrings for 2 minutes. And then we did another deadlift. And then her glutes, and then another deadlift. And when we hit her glutes, that's what really relieves some of her lumbar pain and some of her lower back pain. So that's what I like to see. So whether you're at home in a studio or if you have, if you're at a gym, bring the foam roller over. Go get the foam roller from the corner. Don't just roll in the corner for 20 minutes and then go do your workout. Mix the two together, especially if you're older. If you're over 40, you got to start doing some of these anyway. You should be kind of supersetting your strength work with your mobility work, right? Roll a little bit, between bench pressing, or do a stretch here and there, right? And if you're feeling good after you get warmed up, then you go ahead and hit a couple power sets, strength sets, whatever your goals are, right? But that's a good idea as far as maintaining some of these things. Make sure you're moving well, all right. So the same can be said then before you go to sleep, all right? So if you've been cramping at night, your calves are cramping, one thing you can try is to foam roll first, all right? So typically we're getting maybe a hamstring, typically a calf stretch. There could be a number of reasons for this. If I just use my calves more than normal today, maybe they just didn't quite relax as much at the end of the day, and they're just going to get a little crampy. And what happens normally is that if I'm, if my knee is straight like this here and my toe is back, this is a good stretch on my calf. It's not going to cramp in this position. But at night, I can start sleeping like this. At night, though, let's say I turn over. Now I bent my knee, right? So now my calf just got a little shorter. I point my toe a little bit, my calf just got a little shorter, and that's where a pull or a cramp is more likely to occur, all right? So, but you don't want to stretch it a bunch because your body's going to react to that. Your body doesn't like a lot of static stretching oftentimes. So if you just do a lot of this, I'm going to stretch, then go to sleep, your body may slowly kind of react against that a little bit. And the same thing, excuse me, if you wake up in the middle of the night and you're cramping, that is what you do. Stretch it a little bit, get rid of the cramp, but then you're better off massaging it a little bit. Just sort of massage and relax it, and you literally are relaxing it. Theoretically, the idea is that you are inciting a part of the nervous system. Your nervous system is split up a couple of different ways, but we have a sympathetic nervous system and a parasympathetic nervous system. So part of the nervous system gets us excited, gets us going. We're ready to lift weights, run fast, do something excitedly. Right? Because we get excited when we lift weights. The parasympathetic nervous system chills us out. It relaxes us. All right. So when we roll like this, again, that's why we don't want to roll excessively before workout, because we're not trying to just relax these muscles. We're trying to just work out a couple knots, maybe a little extra trigger point that's causing that muscle to not maybe fire or engage quite as well as it could. Right. So I'm going to roll out just a little bit, then flex my ankle a little bit, and then go on the court and play ball. At night, though, it's much more of I'm mindfully relaxing the muscle. I'm kind of going through some stretches here. I'm going to roll on the inside a little bit, roll on the outside a little bit, and just sort of relax, all right? And just kind of go through that. And if that feels pretty good, then crash, go to sleep. And see if that helps. See if you can engage that parasympathetic nervous system, get those muscles to relax, all right? If again, you find a spot, there's a spot. I can do some big circles. I can pump forward and backwards. And if that gives me some relief, comment below. Tell me what you think about this. All right. So I just asked her, a client, former client, the client's husband, who's an MD. I told him to try this out. See what he thinks. He's biking a lot, cycling a lot right now. The other thing I may do, the rule of thumb in my head, and if I'm going to present this or talk about this, I should have a little research behind it. But the rule of thumb that I've always had in my head for a while now is if I'm cramping during activity, playing basketball, I'm going to take potassium. Okay. And great, you can eat bananas. Bananas are high fructose. They're high glycemic. They're a lot of sugar. So bananas are healthy. Bananas are not necessarily making us fat, but sometimes you can't eat 5 bananas a day. Ideally, we're getting all of our minerals, all of our vitamins from whole foods, and I'm a whole foods guy. But there comes a time and a place where we're not getting enough electrolytes through our food, right? So getting some sodium, maybe from sea salt. So I use Himalayan sea salt on my eggs every morning. And then I supplement with magnesium, and I supplement with potassium. And the rule of thumb I was talking about is that I think of potassium specifically. So I use this. We can get into supplements all day long, and uber expensive supplements that are wonderful versus what you're getting at Walmart. You can research that. I like Now. It's Illinois. I'm in Missouri. It's an Illinois company. I like Now Nutrition. I take a lot of their supplements, but this is potassium citrate. So 99 milligrams. I take this in order to prevent cramping while playing ball. Because again, sometimes I get a little pull or tweak that's more related to my muscles not working correctly because of my big toe or my arch or other things like that. But if I feel like I'm cramping because of dehydration, right? That's the other thing overall. You got to be hydrated because that could be a reason you're cramping at night. So it's either going to be dehydration, electrolyte imbalance, or some sort of activity during the day that exacerbated this in some way, right? That you just used your calves and legs more than usual. But again, that probably caused a dehydrated state and a lack of electrolytes. All right, so it's all connected. So what do you try? Relax the nervous system a little bit with rolling. Make sure you're hydrated, but it's tough. And I know especially a lot of my older guys don't like to drink a lot of water in the afternoon and nights because we don't want to be up peeing all night. I get it. Drink more water in the morning. Try to remain hydrated. Be mindful of the fact that if you did go out and drink some alcohol, you're going to be a little more dehydrated. If you're relying mostly on coffee during the day or any kind of caffeinated beverage, you're going to be a little more dehydrated. So make sure you're getting your regular water in. If you want to suck down a Propel or something, because Propel tastes good, that gives you some electrolytes. But a cheap way to do it, and this is Now potassium citrate. I'm always supplementing with that, especially during the summer. I'm playing on a lot of hot gyms. At least twice per week is what I'm going for with. So that's my I don't want to cramp during basketball supplement. My other supplement is magnesium. What's the brand? Doctor's Best Magnesium Chelated. Chelated, Chelated. Magnesium, it absorbs pretty well. It doesn't have a laxative effect, right? So there's a lot of pre-workouts. Usually my guys, but if you're taking a pre-workout, a lot of them have magnesium in there, and so it'll cause you to go to the bathroom, which maybe is a good thing before you work out or squat or play ball. But it'll cause you to go number 2, which is fine. Maybe you're cleansing. Maybe you're trying to get some stuff out of your system. But it doesn't have that effect as much. But that's good for everything from stress levels to better sleep to not cramping during the night. Magnesium is a wonderful supplement, and I think we're typically low in magnesium, right? So check that out as well. Vitamin D, another important one, but magnesium and potassium are the ones we're talking about today. All right, and then make sure you're using some sort of sea salt in order to get your sodium. So, all right, so it's hot. I'm in St. Louis, Missouri. It's 95 degrees. It's humid, and gyms are typically pretty darn hot. All right, so I think we do this more often. So hopefully we'll post a few more like this. But I got, whether it's a foam roller, 7-inch ball, you can roll with a lot of these different things. But try these things out. Try supplementing. Again, Now potassium, Doctor's Best Magnesium. If you use another brand, and I'm not affiliate marketing any of this stuff. I don't get paid if you go out and buy some now. I can link them down below, but just go on Amazon, look these things up. All right. Otherwise, hey, if you're here, if you're checking this stuff out, thank you so much. And I hope to do some more of these. All right. So God bless you. Keep moving. And we'll see you next time.